same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought we'd meet each other? Who'd have thought we'd meet each other? Here where we need you. Here where we need you. Yeah, the tears are like that, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. Good to see ya. Hope everyone enjoyed a little much needed downtime. So here we are starting another year.
If you live in
Again, this year looks like a little different than past years. We are excited, but a little bit nervous doing the Zoom with a large group especially. And we hope one day to get back to the so-called normal so we can all meet together again. We are still working out this year's safety meetings, PD meetings, to see what that's going to look like as far as gathering, and we'll get that information out to you as soon as we have it. Please know that if you would like to have a refresher on equipment, any equipment, please get with a trainer in advance to set that up. We have a lot going on to get the new year started, so calling to arrange a date and a time is needed. Bonnie, Paula, Mike are more than happy to work with you, answer questions you may have, and refresh you on any equipment. I also would like to remind everybody that the mandatory online training, Safe Schools, is out now, and the info has been mailed out on how to access that. It is under the header of Vector K-12 Edition, so be sure to complete all that by your deadline. The Safety Department has put together this information program for you to help start the year. Part of this program, I want to say, has been pre-recorded, and this is to make sure that we are having the same meeting for everybody. So you are required to attend the program in its entirety, and at the end of this program, you will receive a confirmation code. You'll need to go back into KickUp to confirm that attendance for this meeting and also for payroll. And then we'll turn that information into payroll so you can be paid. So if you have any questions now during this program, take notes. Get that out and see what we can do. And at the end of this, what we're going to do is have question and answer seminar and get this all straight for you so we can have a good year to start. So anyway, now we are on with our program. Who's up?
Hi guys, it's Paula. Wanted to sit there and kind of go over the purpose, and it's straight off of the driver's job description online. The purpose of drivers, they're there to operate the school bus, to transport students between assigned pickup locations in school or school-based or sponsored activities. They need to have the ability to effectively communicate in a positive and professional manner throughout the workday. But I'm not leaving you monitors out. Monitors, straight off of your job description, you're there to assist the bus driver to maintain appropriate student behavior management and to assist the students on boarding, riding, and departing district buses. You guys need to have the ability to effectively communicate in a positive and professional manner throughout the workday. And we really need to listen in, because we're going to keep that positive and professional manner throughout this whole presentation.
Hello, welcome back everyone. This is Bonnie. Going to go over our PPE, personal protective equipment. Drivers and monitors will be required to wear a face mask while on the bus. That's per SSD guidelines. Masks must be worn properly, covering nose and mouth. Drivers or monitors who are securing a child in a securement direct contact will be required to wear masks and gloves. Face shields are optional with masks. This is to protect the students as well as our staff. Face shields will be available for those who wish to use both PPEs. It is not mandatory. We also have our disinfecting of the buses still in place. Staff will be required to disinfect the bus each time they unload students at school or home in between tiers also. Once the last student is unloaded, find a safe place to secure the bus. disinfect the bus by spraying and wiping down the high contact areas. After your last PM tier and you are returning to the garage, you are not required to disinfect. It will be done by the maintenance in the evening. We're going to show you a quick video on the process. Takes a couple moments.
Disinfectant process between tiers. This process will be done after each tier is ran and the students are dropped off at the school. Each seat that was used during the route will be sprayed and wiped with a disinfectant spray and be wiped with the cloth rags provided in your bus bag. All heavily touched areas will also need to be wiped down. This includes handrails, tops of all seats, windows, window latches, seat belts, safety vests, star seat, and wheelchair securement stations.
We also do have the procedures that we're going to talk about and go over real quick. The drivers will still be responsible for the assigned BPE backpacks, along with getting your keys in the morning or midday or in the afternoon that will have the appropriate items in it to keep the bus as germ-free as possible. The process for restocking the backpacks will be the same as last year. Please fill out the little form letting dispatch know what is needed in the backpack. Also, temperatures. They do not have to be done this year, so you don't have to worry about taking temps before students board.
Yay!
You're up next, Mike. It's on Mike.
All right, everybody, how you doing? We're going to talk about pre-trip and post-trip inspections. When you fill out your DVIR book, make sure to do so completely and correctly. Please complete the AM, midday, and PM inspections in the DVR book at the appropriate time and not all at once. Make sure you're waiting until you return to the lot to fill out the post-trip items. And when you find a defect, please make sure it's documented. Moving on to the next slide here, we're going to talk about brake checks. We're going to perform the proper brake test on each of your brake systems, and we need to do that each and every time that you do your pre-trip. So we're going to talk about hydraulic brakes, service brakes, and parking brakes. And we do have a short video here to follow that goes over all three of these tests. We're going to be checking our hydraulic brake. To do this, the bus must be on. Hold the brake pedal 3 times, then hold it down for 5 seconds. The brake pedal should not move during the 5 seconds. Next, we're going to check the parking brake. With the parking brake engaged, check that the brake will hold when put into drive and accelerating slightly. And finally, we're going to check the service brake. We're going to pull forward at 5 miles per hour, apply brake, check that brakes are working properly, and see if the vehicle pulls to one side or the other. Stop properly with no sluggishness or sponginess. And that completes our brake check.
Okay guys, it's me again. Please, drivers and monitors, please come to work prepared to work. What that means is your shoes can't be in the bus, they can't be in your car, they can't be anywhere else, they need to be on your feet. Drivers and monitors shall wear clean, appropriate clothing for working within the bus environment. Drivers and monitors shall wear appropriate clean clothing for working within the bus, such as mini skirts, tank tops, muscle shirts, halter tops, and other garments which expose the shoulders, midriff, are not appropriate. Jewelry or other items of apparel that might interfere with the safe practices are not allowed either. You know, be aware of those hoop earrings and, you know, those necklaces that those kids love to grab. Bermuda shorts, golf type shorts, they are permitted. Employees shall maintain an overall appearance which enhances public confidence in the employee and the district. Employees shall promote a respectful atmosphere and set a good example for all their passengers on the bus. Again, employees shall be clean, well-groomed while on duty. Employees shall wear shoes that fasten securely to the foot both in back and on top, with the toe area enclosed. Heels, wedges, platforms, or spiked heels of any height, house slippers, flip-flop, shower shoes, or sandals shall not be worn.
Okay, so let's take pride and let's be a champion. Hey guys, when we smile, the world smiles with us. So we all feed upon each other's energy. We need to be professional, positive, caring, and consistent.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come that news talking this and that. Well, give me up.
So when we come with that positive attitude and that happiness, then the world is also a little bit happier because we're all happy. So that's contagious, and that's what we want. We want to be contagious with that. Remember, guys, in your NCI core values, care, welfare, safety, and security. That means care, showing compassion and empathy. Welfare, supporting emotional and physical well-being. Safety, preventing risk and injury. Security, ensuring harmony and not harm. These are the keys that we need to do on a daily basis. Be happy, everybody.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Okay, monitors, not gonna like me, but monitors are required to walk to their assigned bus. When boarding the bus, the monitor needs to perform their part of a pre-trip. That would be checking equipment, making sure you have equipment for the route that you're going out on, checking your safety items. Do you have a first aid kit? Is there a body fluid kit? Making sure you have your red folder, that you have all your information on your kiddos. Monitors are required to also conduct a post-trip inspection once the bus is parked in its assigned spot. And no matter what the weather, whether it be rain, snow, anything, monitors, you need to be walking out to those buses.
That's teamwork.
All right, moving on to the cell phone part. Make sure your cell phones are put away during your route. Monitor cell phones need to be put away also. We want to make sure that we're focusing 100% on our students. Do you know the fines if you're cited for using cell phones while driving? Employers can be fined up to $11,000. Drivers themselves can actually be fined up to $2,750, and that would come out of the driver's pocket. Any SSD student transportation communication must go through dispatch. If you have, or the parents have your phone number, make sure that the proper flow of communication goes through dispatch. Do not call or text a parent, and have the dispatch contact them for you. Let's not make any special arrangements, no courtesy stops, etc. More information on cell phone policies, you can check out the link that we have listed below. Now we will be showing two videos. The videos are very difficult to watch. They can tug at your heartstrings. Each of these videos are different examples of distracted driving. As professional drivers transporting the world's most precious cargo, we cannot afford to be distracted. Please remember the 329-1 rule. For every 300 risky behaviors or actions, there are 29 accidents, and out of those 29 accidents, there will be one catastrophic accident. Please don't let this be you. This will take us just a few seconds to load up, guys.
Have you seen this space-age roofing
And of
product
course, we always
that
have
lowers
ads.
energy bills without solar panels
Adding
or
on ads.
batteries?
Guys, if you notice at the top left, she's going 23.9 miles an hour. Now she's back down to 19. She's getting ready to turn.
What are you doing, Devin? Sit down, Devin.
Takes it a long time to notice what's happening.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say that she is okay. She'll always be traumatized about what happened to her, but she is okay. Physically okay.
Every time you get behind the wheel, you are entrusted by the public to drive safely and responsibly. But driving carries inherent risks. Each year in the United States, motor vehicle accidents account for tens of thousands of fatalities on our roadways. It's important to note that driver distraction, specifically from cell phone use, has quickly become a leading cause of accidents. The portability and ever-increasing capabilities of cell phones have made them a large part of our fast-paced lives. But the distractions that they cause when used by drivers presents a huge safety risk to the public. You are about to hear from a man who experienced firsthand how dangerous and devastating it can be to become distracted while driving. As you'll see, the potential consequences are very real, long-lasting, and oftentimes severe for everyone involved.
My name is Justin Iberg, and I was born and raised in Mitchell, South Dakota, and I'm the second oldest of 4 siblings. Grew up on a second-generation family farm. On the farm, I helped with the crops, driving tractor, and putting up hay, and I was just an average farm kid. I went to school at Mitchell Senior High School, and there I took mostly just general classes. I played football all through high school, and I absolutely loved it. I was an offensive lineman. I held my own, and I graduated with about 200 other classmates. On September 20th, 2010, started out as just the average day. I woke up and got ready for work and went into town, and I worked my average 9 hours, and after that I got off work and I stopped at the local Walgreens to pick up some groceries. I picked up a gallon of milk, and I headed out of town. On the way out of town, they had a road construction site where they were resurfacing the blacktop. And they had a pilot car zone set up, and with a pilot car waiting. As I approached that pilot car zone, I went through an intersection, and as I was going through that intersection, I received a text message. So as I had done any other time before that, without thinking, I reached into my pocket and I pulled my phone out and started reading the text message. And as I was reading that text message, I heard a revving of an engine, and instantaneously after that I heard a crash.
Riverside Road is Highway 38.
That day I crashed into two vehicles and a motorcycle. The first one was a car, and behind that car was a neighbor driving his pickup. In between that pickup and my pickup was John on his motorcycle. I crashed into him going roughly 55 miles per hour. The ambulance took him from the accident, and on the ambulance ride to Sioux Falls is when he had actually passed away. A month later after the accident, I had received a phone call, and it was from the county sheriff asking me to turn myself in, and so I turned myself in at the county courthouse, and I was indicted with 2 charges. The first was a second-degree manslaughter, which is a class 4 felony with a maximum of 10 years in prison. And the second charge was reckless driving, which is a class 1 misdemeanor with a maximum of 1 year in county jail. When the trial came, it was a 2-day process. I had to watch as all the witnesses got up on the stand and testified against me. After closing statements, the jury went into deliberation for about 3 hours. They found me guilty. The judge gave me the maximum, 1 year in county jail, and he took my driver's license. One thing that kind of went through my mind was all those little close calls that could have happened and should have happened, but you got away with. It caught up with me, and something did happen. So, and all it takes is just that one time.
While some distractions can be just as dangerous as using a cell phone, it's the regularity of cell phone use compared to any other distraction that makes it such a problem on our roadways. In fact, at any one moment, approximately 660,000 drivers are using cell phones while driving. Additionally, cell phone use is reported in over 18% of distracted driving fatalities in the United States. And using a cell phone while driving slows your reaction time, similar to a person having a blood alcohol level at the legal limit of 0.08%. Distracted driving is a major public safety concern. When you're behind the wheel, you have a social responsibility to reduce the potential for causing harm to others. Ask yourself, would you allow yourself to do something that put your loved ones in danger? Well, the other drivers that you share the road with are also parents, brothers, sisters, and children, and they have just as much of a right as you to arrive safely at their destination. Federal, state, and local laws are changing and continue to focus on protecting the public from those who choose to drive distracted. The potential criminal implications of driving distracted can be significant and include a suspended license, heavy fines, civil liability to any victims involved, and even prison time. But more important is the personal effects of a serious accident. Consider how difficult it would be to live with the devastating consequences of an accident you caused, knowing that it could have been prevented by simply choosing not to pick up the phone. The victims, not only do they not have a choice, but it's often they and their families who suffer the worst consequences.
There are 3 ways in which a driver can become distracted, impairing their ability to drive safely. These include visual, cognitive, and manual distractions. Visual distractions occur when your eyes are not on the road. Examples include entering a GPS address, making vehicle adjustments, placing a call, reading a text, and interacting on social media sites. Cognitive distractions remove your mind from driving. This can include focusing your attention on answering an incoming call, frustration from an unpleasant call or text, or simply daydreaming. It's because of cognitive distractions that hands-free devices are not substantially safer than handheld phones. Manual distractions result in not being in complete control of the vehicle. For example, taking your hands off the wheel to find your phone, eating a sandwich, making entries into your phone, or plugging in a power adapter. What makes it so dangerous to use a cell phone while driving, especially texting, is that it combines all three of these types of distractions into a single action. This explains why texting while driving makes you 23 times more likely to be involved in an accident. In fact, studies have shown that sending or receiving a text message takes a driver's eyes off the road for an average of 4.6 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's like driving the length of a football field with your eyes closed. Remember Justin's story. It only takes a split second of distraction to cause life-changing consequences.
I have to get rides to and from work. I can't drive from my workplace at all, and that affects my job because I can't go on service calls. Or every time I drive by there, it's always a reminder that, you know, what happened that day. And it can happen in an instant, and it only takes once.
The best way for you to avoid distractions while on the road is to prepare prior to leaving by adjusting mirrors, climate controls, and seat position, buckling up, and tuning in sound systems. You're actively reducing the number of factors that can distract you while driving. You need to also commit to avoiding all cell phone use, such as receiving calls, texting, and internet use while the vehicle is moving. Safely bring the vehicle to a complete stop out of traffic before responding to a call or message. The bottom line is that safe driving needs to be your #1 priority every time you get behind the wheel.
There's no question that changing how you drive can be difficult. Staying in contact with your family and friends is important. But how often is a phone call or text message important enough to endanger anyone's life? The honest answer is never. Your safety and the safety of others on the road is literally in your hands. Refraining from the urge to use your cell phone takes self-control. But much like using your seatbelt, avoiding all cell phone use while you're driving needs to become a personal habit. A few suggestions to help you avoid the dangers of distracted driving. If you're traveling only a short distance, simply turn off your phone until you reach your destination. Record a voicemail message that informs callers you won't pick up the phone while you're driving, and that you'll return their message when it's safe to do so. During a longer road trip, turn off your phone and pre-plan stops along your route to check your messages and return calls. Never allow others in the vehicle to take your focus away from driving safely. Don't settle for just being a responsible driver. When you're a passenger, speak up if the driver reaches for their cell phone while driving. Their decision to drive distracted endangers everyone. It's simple steps like these that can help control distracted driving on our roadways and can make all the difference in preventing a serious accident. Other driving tips and additional information can be found by visiting one of the many websites dedicated to preventing distracted driving. These include distraction.gov, the U.S. government site for distracted driving prevention, or itcanwait.com, a public awareness campaign against texting while driving, sponsored by the nation's largest cell phone carriers. The chances of a life-changing accident increase each time you allow yourself to drive distracted. Don't fall victim to the mindset that an accident can't happen to you. Accidents can and do happen to thousands of drivers just like you every year, resulting in the loss of close friends and family. Remember, that phone call or text message can wait. Please, keep yourself and others safe by taking a zero-tolerance stance on distracted driving.
All right, guys, let's all just keep in mind that this isn't just for our school bus drivers, our monitors, anybody who drives. We want to keep this in mind. We're we're all probably guilty of doing this at some time or other. So let's do a better job of being professional drivers and not being distracted, so we can all show up to work and make it home safely.
Okay, now we are going to be going over equipment. Are you going by the route sheet on what each student needs? Please go by what is on the route sheet. The information is what is in their IEP. Is it installed correctly? If you have any questions, safety can help you out. Please make sure you come to either Paula, Mike, or myself. It is not necessary to have extra equipment on the bus, so please make sure that you bring any and all extra equipment in. It may be needed on another route. It is necessary to have enough wheelchair securements for each and every wheelchair space on the bus, even if the spaces are not in use. The seat behind any secured student must be empty, or the occupant in the seat must also be secured, including an aid. A safety reminder: we cannot compromise the safety of our passengers by not using any portion of any securement system that was developed and tested to provide a safe ride. Now we're going to watch an integrated star seat video.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Smith with Emmy Safeguard School Bus Products. Every day at Emmy, we work to create new products that bring better solutions to your real transportation safety issues. One such solution is the Safeguard Integrated Child Seat, or ICS. Safeguard is the trusted and proven solution to keeping your students safer on their school buses. That's why more schools choose Safeguard Integrated Child Seat restraints for their buses. Safeguard enables school districts to convert school bus seats to child passenger seats for pre-K children within seconds, and it's just as easily converted back to seats for older students. This gives drivers the flexibility to use their buses for routes of all age children. The Safeguard ICS was designed to provide protection for children up to 85 pounds. Its unique securement features were designed to minimize potential for inappropriate touch that concerns most drivers and attendants. In this short video, I'll show you how you can properly use the Safeguard Integrated Child Seat to transport preschool, Head Start, and special needs students traveling on your school buses. Let's begin with installation and proper securement. One of the key advantages to the Safeguard ICS is the simplicity. To prepare the system for use, there are 3 easy steps. First, open the child restraint by pulling the seating cushion away from the seat back. It lowers itself on a hinge at the bottom of the seating cushion. Second, you must fold the top portion of the seating cushion under the lower portion. This helps to elevate the child so knees can be properly bent and the restraint system can be properly positioned on the child. Finally, loosen the restraint webs to create full slack in the restraint system. This is accomplished by lifting the metal adjuster tab for the web at the upper edge of the restraint pocket. Pull on the torso web while the lever is lifted until all the webbing has been pulled out. Do this for both webs. Your ICS is now ready for your child. The Safeguard ICS has 3 primary adjustments: the web tightening adjustment, the shoulder height adjustment to adjust the height of the harness to make it properly fit the child, and finally, the chest clip adjustment to ensure that the torso webs are properly located on the child. To start, let me share with you this important and helpful reminder. Before you touch the belt buckle to buckle or unbuckle a child, remember that full slack should be put in the belt system, as demonstrated when we prepared the ICS for use. This helps keep your hands forward from the child's no-touch area when using the buckle. Make sure that before the child is seated on the ICS, to pull the buckle strap to the front of the base so you don't have to fish for it. A Velcro attachment on the buckle strap will help assure that this location is maintained as the child gets into the seat. The buckle should be positioned on the seat base so that it's snug and comfortable for the child and there is no clearance room. Now it's time to buckle up. Once the child is seated, place each shoulder strap flat over the child's shoulder. Keeping the buckle in front of the child, insert the 2 latch plates into the buckle. Next, pull both torso webs at their end loops at the top of the ICS to tighten the harness. It's best to try to pull the strap straight forward and at a downward angle. Also, be sure to check the web at the latch plates to make sure there's no twisting and that they properly lay around the child's hips. Then, adjust the 2 shoulder height adjusters to just above the top of the shoulder of the child. Finally, fasten the chest clip and set it at armpit level. The child is now properly secured. Releasing the child is the reverse procedure with the first step to put slack in the harness system by lifting the metal adjuster tabs in the seat pocket upper edge and pulling on the chest clip or the upper web straps as shown earlier. All of our products have been extensively crash tested at CAPE, the Center for Advanced Product Evaluation, to meet and often exceed safety standards. CAPE has tested more school bus seats and restraint systems than anyone else in the world. Thank you for
That ended a little bit more quickly than what I thought. You guys are now seeing a picture of one of the star seats that is installed properly. We just wanted to show you the frontal view of a star seat, showing that that center webbing cam strap always needs to be placed around and goes around the bottom of the seat. Wanted to show you that one. And then the next picture is of a wheelchair securement of a student. Wanted to make sure you remember that there are 4 securements that go onto the floor that's hooked up to the chair. 2 in the front goes on the outside trackings. 2 in the rear will go on the inside tracking. And then you're also going to have the lap shoulder belt that goes around the student that will hook up at the hip side and does not go around any part of the chair. It always needs to be against the body of the student. Next, we're going to be watching a video that goes over a couple of wheelchairs that are on buses. For the safety of our students, please always fully secure your students in wheelchairs. It is the aides and driver's responsibility to double check all the securements. Do not become distracted
If you
or
only
complacent.
list your vacation home on
Please watch these videos. We would not want this to happen to any of our students.
Airbnb, you'll get a couple who'll stay a couple of nights.
If you notice in that video, it took several minutes and for the driver to even stop before they even realized that that student was on the floor. She was not even verbally capable of letting them know that she was down there. The aide was back there and was being distracted and not even paying attention to the student, and the driver never looked in her mirror to even pay attention to what was going on the inside of the bus. Shame on them.
This unforgettable vacation memory. It didn't actually begin here. This memory began
New at 10 to disturbing video taken on board a Kent school bus shows a special needs student in a wheelchair tip over and crash to the floor. That 7-year-old girl had minor injuries. King 5's Heather Graff is live in Kent, where tonight we're hearing from the child's very upset mother and also getting the school district's response.
Well, tonight the school district is apologizing and says that mother has every right to be angry because when it comes to this video taken on board a school bus, the district says they agree with her. It is very tough to watch as you see the child fall to the floor there. The district also says it never should have happened.
This one is her actually riding a disabled bike.
Look at you go! Videos like this one from her daughter's elementary school in Kent make Natasha Hall smile.
And you can just see how happy she is.
But the video she posted on Facebook earlier this week prompted a very different emotion.
It was just absolutely horrible.
So as little Charlotte took a nap on Thursday afternoon, her mom showed us what a surveillance camera captured on board a school bus for special needs students during a ride home in January.
She has a large number of tumors in her brain and growths in her brain due to tuberous sclerosis, and as a result she's about mentally 6 months old.
You can see Charlotte sitting in her wheelchair. On the left side of the screen, the bus traveling down the road when suddenly the chair tips over and crashes to the floor. Nurses on board the bus rush to help.
And that's her crying.
But for Natasha, it's difficult to watch.
What you're seeing is a mistake that was made by one of our staff members who obviously did not secure a student in a wheelchair and as they should have in the bus.
A spokesperson for the Kent School District said he can't apologize enough.
This was wrong. It did not meet our standards, and we're going to work to make sure it never happens again.
This poor child has...
And that's Natasha's goal as well.
I said, please share this so that it becomes viral.
So in hopes of raising awareness, she shared the video on social media in a post that's now been viewed more than 180,000 times.
We have enough battles with having a disabled or special needs child. Going to school should not be one of those battles.
She wants improved safety measures put in place, better training for school district staff, and hopefully fewer incidents that make her child cry, and more that make her happy.
I just don't want anybody else to have to go through this.
And as a result of this incident, the school district now tells us bus drivers and the nurses on board school buses with special needs students have now gone through additional training. But we've also learned this is not the first time that Charlotte has been injured at school. And so her mom tells us she feels very strongly this is more than a school bus issue. She says this is a safety issue that needs to be addressed on a much larger scale when it comes to special needs students in the Kent School District. We are live tonight in Kent. Heather Graff, King 5 News.
So let's not forget, safe practices, always check and double check the wheelchairs after you've secured them. Paula, it's on you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to accident and incident packets. So the accident incident, we have a statement checklist. This will help you create a statement if you have been involved in any kind of incident or accident. This checklist is a tool to help you with the process of writing your statement. The more details involved in your statement, the better picture it gives the accident or incident. So some of the things we're going to go over is when. You should always start out with the date and time. On Monday, June 17th, 2013, at approximately 8:45 a.m., blank, 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 blank happened. Who? List all the parties involved. If it was 2 SSD buses, you clipped another mirror. State SSD versus SSD and SSD. State your bus number and route number. Number 2, was the monitor in position to witness the accident incident? If so, they need to write their own statement. Who was the other party involved? Make, model of car, number of occupants, including the driver, color of the car. Where? Where was the location of the accident or incident? What was the posted speed limit? What was your speed limit? Use street names, highways, and intersections. Where were the street signs located? Also, state your direction of travel. Northbound, eastbound, southbound, westbound. If you're on the highway or interstate, what's your closest mile marker? These all will help paint the picture of what happened. Michael?
And to continue with that, we want to know what happened, be detailed and factual. Were you changing or merging lanes? If so, was your directional signal on? How many lanes each way? If not in the far right lane, why? Were you backing up? If so, and there was a monitor aboard the bus, where were they during the process? Were you preparing to turn? If so, which direction, left or right? Did you have your directional signal on? How far in advance did you turn them on? Did you check your mirrors to clear your blind spots prior to making the turn? What was going on inside the bus at the time of the occurrence? Were you talking on the two-way radio? Was there a student having a meltdown? What were the road and weather conditions like? Again, be as detailed and specific as possible.
So, as you can see on the screen, we have our school bus accident packet for SSD. The information is not only filled out and turned in to us in transportation, but this also goes to our SSD insurance department. It's very important that everything on the accident packet gets filled out, and that means anytime that you come in contact with somebody or somebody comes in contact with you on bus, the packet needs to be filled out. It is stated as accident packet because that is the way insurance labels it, as an accident, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to be visually an accident or incident. That will be determined by the ARC committee. So anyway, filling out that, everything needs to be written in. That means your name, John Smith in this case, 1130 Larry Drive, or Laurie Drive, and the zip code, as well as St. Louis, Missouri, and your zip. So it's very important we get the full address. Your phone number that is current and up to date, your driver's license and the state of which it is given, your date of birth, the purpose of that. So were you on a route, a field trip, a CBI? This one case is a route and it's 302, and this person has been driving for 27 years. They are loaded that they were in bus 4810, and they list the license plate as being 26994B. Then of course you want to list as much information about the damage of your bus, which side is passenger side, just past the duals, and it's kind of crunched in. So it gives an amount of information for us. Where is the accident location? If you could give me the actual intersection in this case, which is Page and Ashby, and if you could give the township, that is wonderful too, which would be Overland. Was your seatbelt on? Yes or no? What was the weather condition that day? Was it clear and sunny? Or in this case, it was a sunrise. Road conditions, it was paved, and you could put dry. Number of roadways, a road. So is it a 2-lane, 4-lane? In this case, it's a 4-lane, and there are turn lanes in each direction, so they made note of that. The speed was 30 and braking. That means they were slowing down coming through, so they wanted that noted. They were braking from 30 mile an hour in a 40-mile posted speed zone. Were there any injuries? At this point, they said no. Then we need to go to the next person involved, and that is the other vehicle. It's very important that we get this information at the scene. If at all possible, as much information from that other party as we possibly can get, and not just noting on the packet, see police report, because it takes 2 weeks to get a police report. So that information needs to be given as soon as possible. In this case, it is Jane Doe. She lives at 2020 Saline Road in Fenton, Missouri, with the zip code as 63026. Listing her phone number with the area code is very important, and then listing that damage. That damage has driver front quarter panel is crunched, the hood's crunched, bumper, a headlight, and around the turn signal. Now, in this case, with it being that the driver is the same as the owner, all you have to do is put the same. In some cases, that is not the case, so we would need that information. What type of vehicle is it? It's a white 2017 Chevy Cobalt with the license plate XLT 582, and it's a Missouri plate. Their insurance is Geico. Policy number is also listed with the phone number. And were there any injuries in that vehicle? This case, no. Then we want to list in the passenger information. That's any passenger information that is in our SSD vehicle. This does not include the driver. This includes all passengers in there. So that means your aide and any students, if you have nurses, whoever's on your bus. So in this case, it was the nurse, it was the monitor. Her name is Alice Pickle, and she's at 14 West Lakewood in Fenton, Missouri, with the zip code and her address. I mean, not only her address, she has her phone number and her date of birth. Very important that we try and get date of births on everybody, and if you do not have date of births for the children, which are your students, then we can get those from dispatch. When you come back, you can seek that information. And we note on here that she is in seat 4, as you can see in the next slide, where that seat would be, and that she is an aide. So she's on the passenger side in this aisle, in the aisle area, so that is indicated as that seat number 4. Now, if there were any injuries, we would have put that down there, and we would have listed it and what extent of those injuries. And then the other page would be for the other vehicle. If there was any injuries in that vehicle, we want to list that as well. Yeah, let's see. Can't turn my page. Okay, the next one is if we have any witnesses, and then of course a diagram. Any witnesses, it could be somebody inside the vehicle, outside the vehicle that might have witnessed it. We can jot that down. You need to put down what department comes to the scene. Is it St. Louis County? In this case, it happens to be Overland. It could be Sunset Hills. It could be Afton. Whatever the case is, it would need to be listed. Do you have the officer's name? That's when you need to put it there. Either they will give you a card, and if they don't, please ask for that with a badge number. You have a report number. Usually it's a signature of numbers and letters, or it could be like 21-055. That could be a report number as well. That needs to be listed. Which direction was the bus traveling? In this case, the bus was going straight. As you can see in this diagram, it is very detailed. This actually gives us a very good idea of what happened at the scene. Gives us that good idea of what happened, as well as our insurance department and anybody else looking at this to tell, we know exactly what took place. And a statement that goes with that diagram, as you can see, it was Route 302, 4810. It was on 8/21/21 at approximately 6:40 a.m. I was headed out on my route. I was traveling west on Page in Overland and had the green light at Ashby Road. The speed limit is 40 miles per hour. I was driving 30 miles per hour, and I was covering my brake, and I looked to the left and right when going through the intersection. I was in the right lane, and there was another car ahead of me. As I maintained my safe speed cushion, I had to press the brake, and when going through the intersection, because the car in front of me was braking, so as soon as I made it through the intersection, the car in front of me hurriedly and braked and made a right into the Enterprise parking lot. I also had to brake hard, and that is when we felt and heard a crash. A Cobalt was making a right off of Ashby Road onto Page. There is a yield sign for the vehicles executing a right turn off of Ashby. The Cobalt did not pay attention, and that I had braked, and I stopped for another car in front of me. I called dispatch over the radio to report the accident. Then it's signed and dated. And then, of course, there was a monitor on that bus, so that monitor did a statement as well, listing the same information as 302-4810 is the vehicle number, with the date being 8/21/21, stating approximately 6:40 a.m. My driver was driving west on Page. We just made it through Ashby Drive at the light, and a car in front of us braked hard. no signal and turned into the Enterprise car place. My driver had to brake, and that is when we felt a hit and heard a crash toward the back side of the bus. My driver called dispatch over the radio. Miss Alice Pickle signed it and dated it. It's very important that we cover as much of that information as we possibly can in that packet. So anytime though you may need help or assistance in completing an accident packet, please don't hesitate to come to one of us to help. We would be happy to help you. Okay, going forward, the next thing that I wanted to cover would be the employee injury report. Anytime that you might have an injury on premises or on your bus, here while you are on the work, you need to fill out an injury report. This report gets turned in immediately to our SSD insurance department as well. Now, they go over this and they look at it, so everything that's in the fields needs to be filled out as well, or otherwise we have to come back and ask you for more information. So this particular one is Roadrunner was filling out his little injury because he got hurt while he was out doing a pre-trip. He put down his employee number, which is your 6-digit ID, his date of birth, well, was 8/15/1960, and he has his emergency contact or his employee contact number with his 314-876-5309 telephone, and his hire date. So he was hired in 10/5/21. He lists his full address, which is at 10022 Wilson Place in St. Louis at 63132. His job title happens to be a driver. His injury date was August 6th of 2021 at about 10 a.m. He is assigned to the central garage. So, and the building location where it occurred was also at the central garage, and where it was on the parking lot while he was doing his pre-trip. So at this point, then you need to put down what body part was affected. In this case, it was the head. If it had been an elbow, what was it? The right elbow, left elbow? Was it the right hand, left hand? Right knee, left knee? Those are important information to put in there. And be specific as you can of how the injury occurred. I was walking between buses 4762 and 4761, and I turned around to answer a question from another driver. When I turned back around to continue toward the bus, I ran into the driver mirror on bus 4761. So that tells us exactly what happened. So, was this injury as related to your regular job duties? Yes, it was. Did you seek care by a nurse in the building? Nope, didn't have a nurse at the building, so that would be a no. Did you seek medical treatment away from the facility? If you put no in this place, we would like for you to provide why, and maybe that would just be not at this time, not needed. And if you did seek medical attention and you want to go, then at that point in time, we would need to write down what facility you would be going to. Were there any witnesses? So did somebody around the parking lot see this happen? Somebody on the bus witness this if it happened on the bus? So we would need that information, which would be the name of that person and that phone number. In this case, it was Wiley Coyote. And the name of the person that you notified for the injury. My name is spelled wrong. It's Denise. And of course, my position. And then you would need to make sure you put down when you reported it. It was reported on August 6th. That's the same day that it happened. Immediately after it happened, which is 10:15. And I turned that in to the supervisor, Kevin Knuckles, with his phone number. Another important part of this is that you must sign under the employee signature and date it. That has to be done. If not, you will be receiving the form again for you to have to sign that off. So it's very, very important, guys, that this information gets done and gets done quickly. Even if you think it is not a big deal and you're going to try to just brush it off, it's still better to fill out a form and us have it in the insurance department in case a day later something was to happen. That shows that you took care of it and turned it in properly and on time. Thanks.
Okay, ladies ladies and gentlemen, keep hanging in there. We're almost to that, highlight of being done. We're close. Okay, guys. At the end of the week, you have mileage cards. We're still doing mileage cards. You have to total and complete them by Friday. South Garage, you're handing them into your PM dispatcher. They're looking it over and they're handing it back to you if there's a mistake and handing it back when you're done. Central's doing the same thing. The PM dispatcher's looking it over. You have to have them look it over before you leave for the weekend. You have to stand there and wait, both garages, for the dispatcher to take it, hold it, look it over, and then put it on their pile or hand it back to you.
Straight.
And that is straight from Robin and Kevin. Not us, not anyone else. Straight from Robin and Kevin. We're going to have correct mileage cards this year. We're not going to be looking it up. They're not going to go back out to the buses. This is all on you, folks. Michael?
All right, guys. Seating charts. It's very important that we keep seating charts updated. We recommend 4 copies of seating charts. 1 for the dispatch, 1 for a copy of the school for which dispatch will get to them. Keep 1 for the driver and 1 for the monitor. The reason we're wanting all these copies is it's coming straight from SSD central office, and they're going to use these seating charts for contact tracing. All schools, tiers must have seating charts, including tech schools. Seating charts must be followed for the district, per the district leadership. Any changes that you make to it need to be submitted in a timely manner, and you need to make changes. If you're driving around and a student gets taken off the route, you need to update your seating chart. You need to return that back in ASAP. If a new student gets added, you need to update your seating chart and turn that in ASAP. When students are on the bus, we want to keep a 3 feet minimum, if at all possible, to mitigate the anybody getting sick from germs or whatever.
We understand that may not be feasible, but if it is, that's when we need to take those precautions. If we have the need to do that and we have the space, we must.
Okay, guys, last but not least, we're going to turn it over to Miss Bonnie Blue.
We have a video from Special School District they would like for us to show you that goes over the Special Education Foundation. Enjoy. Roll 'em, roll 'em, roll 'em.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got trouble, and I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together, see it through, 'cause you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, big and stronger too, maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy, and as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me. You You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Any donations that you can help to fund the Special Education Foundation is greatly appreciated. And as you can see, it goes to a really good cause.
So if we have anybody that has any questions out there, we are going to open for any questions. Everybody is still on Zoom. We're still on Zoom with you.
Don't click off yet because you still have to get that confirmation code from Denise.